Welcome to the Warframe Weapon Encyclopedia, where today we're checking out the Ninkondi. You can get the blueprint for the Ninkondi from the market for 20,000 credits, and to build them you're gonna have to put in additional 20,000 credits, 4,000 ferrite, 1,200 polymer bundles, 800 plastids, and 2 argon crystals, so they're pretty cheap. The Ninkondi are Mastery Rank 8 nunchucks that do electricity and impact damage. They sport a 10% crit chance with a standard 2x crit multiplier and a very high 35% status chance. They also have decent attack speed of 1 and an unusual amount of range at 2.31. The Ninkondi were originally one of the 3 weapons that were exclusive timed rewards for Warframe China, but were eventually added into the global version as well. And they actually changed quite a bit, because originally these did pure electricity damage with no impact whatsoever. Now, since the crit chance on the Ninkondi is so low, we're gonna go with a pure status build instead, because even with a fully stacked blood rush, you're only gonna get roughly about 50% crit chance, which is simply not enough. So we're gonna run Primed Pressure Point or Condition Overload for damage, followed by Primed Reach for range, then Berserker Fury for attack speed, Weeping Wounds for status, and we're actually gonna run Shattering Impact for stripping enemy armor. Then we're gonna slap in Shocking Touch to boost the electricity damage, and we're gonna top it all off with Virulent Scourge and Vicious Frost, with one of them being maximum rank and one of them being unranked. This will give us roughly about a 2-to-1 ratio of electricity and vital. Now, Shattering Impact is a really cool mod, but it's only worth it on specific weapons. The way it works is as long as your hit does any amount of impact damage, it doesn't need to proc impact, it will strip 6 enemy armor. That doesn't seem very good, until you realize that not only is the armor strip permanent and it's stacked, so the more you hit the enemy, the more armor you slap away from them, it strips base armor, not scaled armor, which is why a single hit with Shattering Impact will always strip 100% of a butcher's armor, regardless of the butcher's level and actual armor value, because butchers only have 5 base armor. The reason we run it here is because we're using electricity procs to do the majority of our damage, and electricity, unlike something like Slash, doesn't bypass armor. So the idea behind this build is to strip away the enemy armor with Shattering Impact, then soften the enemy up so they take more health damage through vital procs, and finally do damage with a big electricity discharge. This works well enough up to about level 75. At that point, heavily armored units just become a little bit too beefy. This doesn't really stop the weapon from killing the enemies though, not since the latest status update, because impact procs are now much easier to max out. And one of the things that impact procs do is they push the enemy Parazon finisher threshold higher and higher as you proc them. And when you have a weapon like this that provides a steady stream of impact procs, you can open the enemy up to a Parazon finisher in like a second. So the Ninkondi might be the only weapon in the game that actually benefited heavily from the addition of impact damage. So I would actually recommend you give it a try, because it's just a unique weapon that also happens to be cheap as chips. And I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.